I would like to invite Mariasole Bianco to come on stage, as well as Simona Masina. Simona, if you're around, it would be great if you could come join us. So I'd like to introduce Mariasole Bianco. Thank you for joining us, Mariasole. So Mariasole is a marine conservationist and a communicator, and you're very passionate about the marine environment.
Very passionate.
So here, let me give you a microphone quickly.
Thank you.
So you've got something to talk into.
Looking at it. Okay.
So just to get us going on the topic of today being the World Oceans Day,
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit about the marine environment, what's happening to the marine environment at the current state, and what do you think needs to happen going forwards? We heard from our colleagues in New York that this is the UN Ocean Summit, the conference that's really putting the spotlight on ocean conservation. So if you could just explain the issues around the marine environment to get us started.
Sure. So basically what happened is that we always consider the marine environment and the ocean too big to fail and handless in his capacity to provide for our need. But now we're starting to realize that we cannot keep dumping into the ocean pollution and substance, because it simply gets back to us. Like we have the great example, between brackets, example of plastic pollution. If we keep doing like that, by 2050 we will have more plastic than fishes in the ocean. So this is a terrible news. And also we have to realize that we cannot take, as we are taking everything out of the ocean in a completely irresponsible manner, because again by 2050 the FAO tells us that if we keep fishing like we are doing now, there won't be any fish left. We will have experience a collapse of the global seafood. So this is not a very bright view for the future, no? Especially 2050 look like a very scary year, but there is hope. There is still hope, and this hope, I believe it comes from the recognition of the ocean as our life supporting system, with the role that it plays in every day in our life by providing food, water, like safe water, the oxygen that we breathe. Not many people knows that 50% of the oxygen that we breathe comes from the ocean, but it also absorbs 30%, about 30% of the CO2 that we produce.
Great, thank you. Thank you so very much for that introduction. And with that, I'd also like to introduce Simona Masina. Simona is a physical oceanographer, so you'll be able to give us a lot more details and insights on the physical aspects of the marine environment, on some of the numbers that we've already touched upon. But before I get an introduction from you, I'd like to connect with New York. Dan Thomas, are we connected?
Yes, we are connected. That's terrific. So thank you so much, Max. It's good to see you and your panel. I'm Dan Thomas, the first General Assembly here in the SDG Media Zone, and we're honored to be joined by the President of Palau, Mr. Tommy Remengesau. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence here in the day today. It's World Ocean Day, and we're on day 4 of the World of the Ocean Conference here at the United Nations. We've had a very, very busy 3 days so far, and another 2 to go. We're starting off World Ocean Day with a bang. We're thrilled to be connected to you guys in the SDG Media Zone in Bologna for the Connect for Climate, also the Green SDG Media Zone, where you're working with the G7 Environment Ministers meeting. And so we're thrilled to be joined by you, Max. But first of all, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what's happening there in Bologna?
Absolutely. Thanks for the introduction, Dan. So we are here at the All for the Green Week, which is really putting a spotlight on all the environmental issues, both above and below the ocean. We really want to emphasize that the Sustainable Development Goals can only be achieved if you tackle all of them at the same time. And today we're putting the spotlight on World Oceans Day through a live link with you. So I'd like to actually introduce our panel here. So on my right, we've got Mariasole Bianco, and she's a marine conservationist and communicator. Further on my right, we've got Simona Masina, who's a physical oceanographer. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Mariasole to quickly introduce your perspective on conserving the marine environment and deliver your first question to the President of Palau. Thank you so very much for joining us, Mr. President.
Happy World Ocean Day. It is an honor for me to deliver this question. And we just did a little bit of background of the history and the situation of the ocean and how we always considered the ocean too big to fail. We now know that it's the other way around. We now know that we cannot talk about climate change without considering the important role that the ocean plays as our life-supporting system, as a driver of our climate, as providing us with oxygen, the oxygen that we breathe, and absorbing the CO2. But another important thing that we need to consider is the fact that the ocean has been our strongest and greatest ally in the fight and in the battle that we are fighting for against climate change. But this alliance cannot last forever, because like in every great partnership and friendship, it is also time for us to give back. And we can give back by investing in ocean protection, by making ocean conservation a priority to successfully address the challenges that our humanity face. And marine protected areas are one of the greatest tools, and I know that the President has been playing a key strategic role in advancing the discussion about marine protection and for the benefit, which is very important, of everyone, because it's our existence that is at risk. So as he says, fellow children of the ocean, I will always remember how he addressed the public, fellow children of the ocean. So my question for him is, what is our responsibility for future generation in terms of ocean conservation?
Thank you, and first of all, happy World Oceans Day to all of you out there. You know, you have touched a very important point, which really is in the heart and soul of what we're all trying to do, whether it's here in New York. And that is, ocean is really connected to how we address the other 16 sustainable goals. You cannot talk about health, you cannot talk about poverty, you cannot talk about climate change, pollution, without addressing what we are doing to the ocean. And the other point we need to stress is we're already on life support. I think that's a good because we are, and unless we do something, our children and their next generation are going to grow up with an uncertain future at best. So these marine protected areas is just one area of trying to address what we need to do to make sure that, you know, the resources are sustainable, that the oceans are clean, that there's opportunities for economy and addressing the future of the next generation. So Palau has put aside consciously its commitment to do 80% of our marine protected area, our exclusive economic zone, as a marine protected area. This is roughly over 500,000 square kilometers of ocean. roughly the size of France. And we're setting it aside because we believe that there's a spillover effect. If you conserve part of the ocean, then fish can replenish themselves. They're going to migrate to other places, but they'll have a better chance of surviving. And this is what science is telling us. So again, the science, business, and society, we all have a role in this together, like rowing in a boat, in a canoe. We have to row in one direction. We have to cooperate. We have to support one another and live a better world, a better legacy. That's our legacy, to have our children a better future tomorrow.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Why don't we go back to you, Max?
Thank you. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Simona Masina. Thank you, Simona, for joining us. She's an oceanographer, so a little bit more on the technical side. Simona, maybe you can introduce your topic on the marine environment, and then present your question to the president of Palau. And please look into the camera as you're speaking.
Okay, thank you for introducing me, and good morning and happy Ocean Day to you too, also on my side. Yes, as it was said, I'm a physical oceanographer, so I'm pretty happy to say that the scientific community is really starting to address the importance of the ocean in the climate system. We are starting to know and to understand the role of the ocean in the climate system. The oceans that covers 71% of the whole Earth's surface actually we're starting to know that it acts as a buffer. It absorbed most of the energy that we have introduced in the system in the last 3 decades. It absorbed temperature, heat, CO2. So it really is acting as a mitigating system towards the effect that the climate change is having into the system. But there will be a limit, okay? The ocean has a limit, has a limited heat capacity. So there will be a time when the ocean will start to give back what it has saved and stored. I'm talking about the increase of the heat content in the ocean, the increase of the acidification in the ocean, and the effects, the clear effects that I'm sure you start to see in your country about the sea level rise. So my question to you is, well, we all know, we remind the concept that it takes a village to raise a child. Can we really say now, can we really ask if it really takes the whole world, the whole community, scientific community, biologists, geologists, physicists, mathematicians, to save our ocean? Is it too much to be asked?
First of all, we have to have some hope that something can happen, because if we don't have hope, then really there is no future according to what scientists are telling us. So that is important to really come together as a village, because everyone have a role to play. Business, society, we all have a role to address the situation. And let's not forget, the Paris Agreement actually did not go far enough, as what the scientists said needed to be done with the emission of CO2, with the greenhouse gas emissions. We just actually agreed at the start. So even with the level and the targets of the Paris Agreement, we're still falling far short of what really needs to be done. So with this situation, we have to be all in the canoe. We all have to be on board. Every countries in the world need to do their job. Every societies, every foundation, every NGOs, every governments, whether it's the national, state, or local level. It has to be a total community effort. The marine sanctuary, I wanted to make one point. The people on the grassroots, the fishermen, the average people who make a living on the ocean, they have to be on board. And so all kinds of responsibilities, there's all kinds of roles it takes a village to address these climate change.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're here at the Ocean Conference in New York. Are you feeling that nations are coming together as a village?
The challenges faced by the ocean and by nations like yours. Do you get that feeling that oceans, and after you've answered that question, I'm hoping the questions from your audience in Bologna, if you could turn the camera around. But Mr. President, do you feel, are we hearing the kinds of commitments that it's going to take from other countries to support you in taking leadership on the ocean?
Yes, I feel, again, I feel some positive things. I wish we can do more, but I'm hearing some positive response. Just the fact that we're doing this focus on the ocean itself is a very good progress. And I see a lot of the leaders here at the UN. I see a lot of business community leaders, the scientists here. I see experts. I see ICT people here in the social media, and that's really what it's going to take. Bringing the message outside of
it. Give us a wave. It's very good to see that we're talking to people in Bologna. If you could turn the camera around, maybe we can have some questions from the audience, Max. We've just got about 5 more minutes with the President before he has to go to another appointment. But if there was a question from the audience, it would be nice to give that opportunity.
Great, absolutely.
Does anyone have a question?
So we've got a very full room here full of young people. So I'd like to ask one of you to come up and ask a question to the President of Palau on World Oceans Day to see what we all need to do together to make sure that we transition to a sustainable future. So come and stand in front of the camera here. Thanks. And just look into the camera as you ask the question.
Hi there. I was wondering if you could answer the question, what solutions do you have to tackle the rising sea levels that we're facing right now?
Thank you very much.
Stop the cost of the rising. The meltdowns of the North Pole and the Icelands are just sad to. I haven't been there, but I've seen the what transpires on a daily basis, and that's really the main thing about sea level rise. That melted water or melted ice has to go somewhere, and it's increasing the water level as far away as the islands in the Pacific, so that we are living on the front line. We're experiencing the sea level rise. They're coming into our homes, into the agricultural areas, life on the line is being affected by it. So again, the goals and targets of the Paris Agreement about reducing the greenhouse emissions, we have got to do that as an international community with responsibility. It can't be just about economic consideration. We also have to think about, what the impacts it is on people's lives, on people's economies, and people's future sustainable future.
So you're already in Palau feeling the climate change. Do you feel that the major economies of the world are supporting your climate action, for ocean action? Do you feel the support? Do you feel here at the Ocean Conference?
Yes, I have to, again, have some hope. I know we can do more, but at least the countries coming together is a good start. What happened after this Ocean Conference, that really, where are are the partnerships that can take place? What's really going to be implemented? Will the major economies of the world truly become a partner by that are truly affected, small island countries like Palau? So this is the, we wish everybody is on board. The United States is a very important partner in this. We're definitely frustrated and saddened that the leadership of the United States is not there when the rest of the world is tackling issues of climate change and global warming. But the world goes on, and maybe we can use this situation as an energizer, a reminder for us that, we can't paddle the canoe backward. We have to move forward. And all of us in the canoe right now have to row in unison. In the canoe, they're in the water, but we gotta extend our hands to them, give them the support to hopefully be back with us in the long run.
That's terrific. Thank you very much, President of Palau, Mr. Tommy Remengesau. Thank you so much for coming. I know you have to go to a fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. You can away, so thank you very much indeed. It's great. Thank you for coming. Max, just over to you. We've had a wonderful connection here. We've had, in fact, this morning we connected the SDG Media Zone here in New York with not only the SDG Media Zone in Bologna, but we also had the winner of the blue photo competition online from Bangladesh. So that was 3 countries connected in this conversation about the SDGs. Tell us a little bit about how it's going in Bologna. How are you engaging your audience, your young people, in a conversation about?
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for the president of Palau and for his guidance, his leadership on tackling the crisis that we're starting to see in the oceans and presenting the solutions that we need to transition to a low-carbon resilient future. So we're really excited to be partnering with you and joining you on World Oceans Day. And we are excited to see the progress that's being made at the UN Ocean Conference to put the spotlight on oceans as one of the prime areas to building that sustainable future. Here in Bologna, we're celebrating All for the Green. It's a week of activities with over 70 events taking place across the city. And it's really putting forward that message that we all want to transition to a green economy, that we want to build a future that is safe and comfortable and low carbon and resilient for all. And that is the message that's going forward to the G7 environment meeting happening later this week on June 11th and 12th here in Bologna. There's a lot of excitement from my panelists. I definitely hear that there's a real desire and an urge to tackle both climate change, but also really address the environmental issues that we're seeing. Do you have a quick message you'd want to share with New York and with our Facebook Live audience?
Very quick one, please. Let's not talk about the important role of the ocean just on World Ocean Day, because it's our own existence, it's our life supporting system, and so it's a strategic and fundamental part of our lives every day. So we need to look after the ocean and take care of the ocean every day.
And for you, Simona?
Well, sure, I strongly support Mariasole's question. The ocean not only today, but the ocean forever. And let's really make an effort in trying, to diffuse the idea that the ocean is something that is alive, that's strategic for the future and for the future generation. So let's really make an effort in doing training, education to the young children. We really need to start to teach to very, very young children from 6-year-old on that the ocean is a source of energy, is a source of life. I'm realizing that they are not yet conscious of this concept, not even in Italy, in a country like Italy that is mostly surrounded by ocean. So let's do our best to teach the children.
Very good.
So Dan,
Simona Masina, thank you very much. Mariasole Bianco, Max Edkins from the World Bank, Connect for Climate, All for the Green. It's really terrific to be connecting with you. Happy World. Please continue to use the hashtag SDG Live. The hashtag for World Oceans Day is Save Our Ocean. That's been in use and there for the whole week.
thank you so very much, Dan, and thanks for the great work.
We've got a great program coming up in the General Assembly of Malta. Until 1, the Ocean Day celebration with heads of state and government. There's all kinds of things happening there. We invite you to tune into that on webtv.u.
Thank you, Dan, and we'll be following you online.
Audience of people. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, guys. It's been a really great session connecting with our colleagues at the UN in the SDG Live Media Zone. We look forward to continuing on Facebook Live, and stay with us with hashtag SDG Live.